How are you today? We're going to talk a little bit about brandies and cognacs. There's an old saying in the bartending industry is that all cognacs are brandies, but not all brandies are cognacs. Basically what they are is a grape distilled spirit. And in fact, in order for the bottle to bear the name cognac, those grapes had to be grown, distilled, and then bottled in the Cognac region of France. They're considered the Cadillac, say, of brandies. A couple of things that you as a bartender should know about brandies is the lettering system that they have on bottles of brandies. Here we have a bottle of Courvoisier, and it stands for, you have letters written here of VS, and that stands for very special, and that is aged to up to, say, 5 years. Then you would have, say, VSOP, that stands for very special old pale, and that's aged anywhere from 5 to, say, 10 years. You could also find letters XO, meaning extra old, could be anywhere from 15 to 20 years, and then XXO on a bottle of cognac could be extra old, could be anywhere from 20 some years to, say, 50 years of aging before it's actually bottled and then served to a customer. Talking about serving a bottle of cognac or brandy, when a customer comes to the bar and they say, for example, let me have a Courvoisier, and that's all they say, and you've got a VS and a VSOP, you may want to ask them which one do they prefer, because of course it's going to be more expensive the older the Courvoisier that you use. So let's say they just stuck with the basic, the VS. The first thing I'm going to look around for, has there been a glass especially designed for brandies? And there has been. It's a glass called a brandy snifter. It's also known as an inhaler. Now what I like to do with this particular glass is use a little showmanship when I'm pouring a brandy. Instead of just pouring a straight shot of brandy and being done with it and serving it to a customer, what I like to do is I like to use a little flair, a little showmanship. A lot of times what I will do is I'll hold that glass parallel with the floor. I'll take my requested cognac and I'll pour that into the glass in front of the customer. And when it reaches the lip of the glass, that's the required amount for that size glass. So depending on the bar that you're working in, if this is, I think this is a 9-ounce glass, and this will actually measure out 1.5 ounces. As you see, it's right there on target, 1.5 ounces. I think if you go to, say, a 12-ounce glass, it may take you to 1.75 ounces. Now, brandy snifters or inhalers, they can get very, very large. In fact, I've seen them as large as, say, a 32-ounce inhaler, but oftentimes that particular glass is used for the bartender's tips and not so much for serving a shot of brandy. All right? Now, you see it's a very accurate measurement, so let's try that one more time. Now often I've seen a lot of bartenders will lay this on the bar and pour a shot, which is cool, but again, maybe the bar customers down there, they're not going to be able to see it. And I would never turn my back to a customer when I'm pouring his shot. So basically I will direct myself where the customer's sitting, and again I'll pour that in like so until it reaches the lip of the glass, and then I'll serve that to the customer. All right? There's no mixing required on your part as the bartender. Now, what the customer will do is he'll pick this up in the palm of his hand and he'll swirl this in circles like so. And basically what happens, he's transferring the heat from his hand to the glass, and the glass is transferring its heat to the cognac or brandy, and basically what happened, it releases this bouquet. And this is where the name of the glass comes from, because after the customer, after a couple of minutes of swirling this brandy or cognac in its glass, he'll stick his nose and smell the aroma or the bouquet of the brandy or cognac. Oftentimes I've seen customers that will sit there and they're in a cigar bar, and often they will sit there and swirl that brandy, and they'll take a puff of that big old stogie, stick it down into their brandy, take another puff of that stogie, swirl the brandy a little bit more, take a sip. That's living. All right? Well, I hope that was give you some insight on brandy and a good method of serving a brandy. Thank you.